Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new week. You have a lot to look forward to. It's a chance to rebound. It's a chance to get back into the win column. It's a chance to, wouldn't say salvage the season, but knowing how the rest of this schedule looks for South Carolina and what's ahead, it's looking more and more like that. And from where people are going to come at me, and you're going to say, "Well, Lucas, why is the season needing to be salvaged?" Well, you're in a very peculiar spot because your next several games are not easy whatsoever. They're not. Well, obviously, you have to talk about what you have this week. We obviously have to discuss a lot of elephants in the room. Is it going to get pretty up in here? Probably not. You and I need to have a heart-to-heart discussion about many things that include personnel, that includes staff, that include an early look as to what you need to do in the 2026 offseason. Lucas, it's September. Why are we already talking about the offseason? Guys, you have to get something fixed. But nonetheless, guys, we are live. This is South Carolina Live, the 22nd edition of such. I am your host, as always, Lucas Hill. Thank you all for tuning in wherever you are listening, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on YouTube, whatever it is, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all do me a favor. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button if you're watching this on the YouTubes. If you're watching this on Twitter, y'all do us a favor as well. Y'all know the drill. Hit the repost. Hit the little heart button down below. And tell a couple Gamecock fans that we are live. I know y'all are slowly starting to trickle in here. Come on, man. We got 83 of y'all up in here. Let's speed this thing up a little bit. I'm trying to get to 100 before we get to the 5-minute mark. So y'all hit the like. Y'all hit the share button. Let's get after it. Let's continue to do some great things here on this channel. Every live show is brought to you by our good friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Go on over and download the Underdog Fantasy app on your Apple or Android device. Use my promo code VOCFBSC. And when you place your first $5 lineup, you will get a $50 bonus bets. That is VOCFBSC. When you play that first $5 or more lineup, you get $50 in free bets using our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. No purchase necessary, not available in all states, must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That is 1-800-GAMBLER. So I put out a series of tweets earlier today that realistically, I think pretty much speak of where you are as a program. a little bit. Am I back? Hey, if you're in the chat, give me a thumbs up or a Spurs up, whatever you want to pick. If you hear me right now. If anybody's in the chat, are we good? Okay, we're good. Never mind. I got my girlfriend to confirm. So thank you, Afton. Y'all want to see Afton? Afton does not want to be on the screen in front of over 100 people. Anyways, so right now the state of your program is not looking good. Offensively, you are a mess. Doesn't help that LaNorris is probably going to miss this weekend. He's in concussion protocol. He obviously had a concussion on the sidelines, so he is probably done for the next week or two. Now, you would like to get him back before the LSU game, and luckily, you would have liked to have him back this week, but that, in my opinion, is not going to happen. It's just not, guys. Concussion protocol is weird because you end up getting a CAT scan, you do a physical. Look, a guy could be lying to you and saying, oh, that he's fine, he doesn't have a concussion, oh, he's this and he's that, and then a couple weeks later, he'll have the same issue and it'll just be almost the same cycle over and over and over. So I don't know what LaNorris's situation looks like at this point in time, but you would hope for the best for him. Right now, it's Luke Doty's program. Doty already came out in the presser and said he doesn't know if he's starting or not. But I would expect that he would because he was taking first-team reps earlier today. And to be completely honest with you, it would be stupid if you didn't start him. And I'm not saying that this is bad about Air Nolan, or I'm not saying this is bad about Cutter Woods. But right now, with what Shane has wanted to do, loyalty is going to matter at the end of the day when it comes to the quarterback position. Do I think Luke Doty had a bad game on Saturday? Not necessarily. Did he make mistakes? Yes, he sure did. Did I think he was bad overall, though? No, not necessarily. But, guys, he's been in the system dang near forever. He's been a Gamecock for a very, very long time. So, he was there whenever it was the final year of the Mike, or not the Mike Show, the Will Muschamp era. My thing about him is, how do you utilize him now, and what do you have with the array of receivers that are around you? Can you finally get them the football? That's the number one thing that you struggled to do on Saturday. You went away from Nick Harbor early. The guy's going off. Do I think that the concussion played a role into it? Not necessarily. I do think that it was suspect that you went from LaNorris comes off the field, Doty just finished warming up, you're about to snap the football, and then boom, you have a penalty. Or not a penalty, but you review the play to see if it's actually passing or actually a targeting call. Quite literally, you blow the whistle as the ball is being snapped. That's a play that's about to go for a touchdown. That's about to put you back in the ball game, and the referees blow the play dead. I hated that. I don't even care if it was called a targeting or not. I didn't think it was enough to be warranted a targeting, but I mean, that's just so suspect. Why the SEC stopped it at that point and not after he's on the ground and you have trainers attending to them, I can't answer that question. It was such a dumb freaking decision by the referees. I don't know what went on in Birmingham that went in their minds that said, we're going to look at this a couple of different angles to see if this is actually a targeting, and then we're going to blow the freaking whistle right as soon as South Carolina snaps the football. You going to continue to mock me? I'm going to put you on camera. We always like to have fun here on the Voice of College Football. Okay. But regardless of that, guys, that's not what matters most today. Doty checked it down, which, if we're being real, that's what LaNorris was doing for the majority of the season. One of the things that I've noticed whenever you look at the first 3 games is that you are playing very conservative. Offensively, you are not as consistent as you were during your 6-game stretch. That's saying something, knowing what you've had offensive coordinator-wise in the Beamer era. It hasn't been great, but last year, Dowell Loggins let LaNorris be LaNorris. In my opinion, Mike Shula is not letting him be the guy that he was expected to be at the start of the season. The Heisman Trophy contender and such. And I even saw it during fall camp. I thought it was weird that, you were seeing what LaNorris was doing throughout camp. You saw him take more or drop backs. You didn't see him scramble a lot. Now, I understand he's got a non-contact jersey on. But, I mean, still, it starts in fall camp, guys. I don't know what you installed for that entirety of camp. Guys, you would think that Mike Shula, from what you saw last year, you would continue to build upon that and not change anything to his game. But it looks like to me that his game is completely changed. He's not effective running the football as much. He looks scared in the backfield. He does. Part of that is because of the lack of trust in your offensive line. This is not an O-line, a personnel thing either. There's a lot of talent up front. The problem is Mike Shula is installing and what Lonnie Teasley has been teaching. Guys, Lonnie Teasley has done nothing since he's been at South Carolina. And many of you are going to look at, well, he might have played a role last year. Guys, that's BS. It's BS. Lonnie Teasley has played 0 of a role between his first time in 2023 and between then and 23 and now. Words are hard. Ain't that right, Afton? So you have to make a change. You do. You don't really have much of a choice. Because right now you are broken. I'm not saying you're going to do it now. Knowing Beamer, I don't even know if he does go away for Mike Shula. He's too loyal of a guy. That's a good thing, but it's also going to kill your opportunities. to continue to elevate your game and continue to elevate your program to where you are trying to get to. It's only going to hurt you. I have not seen a program that has been successful because of loyalty. Sometimes you got to make the hard decisions. I can tell you right now, Beamer knows that he's about to have to make some hard decisions over the next 2 to 3 months. I think we all know that. So what do you do? Number one, in my opinion, is that, look, Beamer said in his presser earlier that he doesn't want to hear the complaints about the offensive side of the ball and their play call. But, guys, right now, the first 3 games, it's not been good. It's defined your season. Sure, you can look back at last year, but that was a young team with a lot of young pieces. This year, this is different. You were expected to be a dark horse, and you still are. I'm not going out here and saying the season's over. The season is far from over. You can run the table and go 11-1 to finish out the season. You can. It's right there in front of you. But the question is, what do you have to do right now to change where this program is? Right now, you don't have an answer. Offensively, you don't have an answer. Up front, you're getting pushed around. Wide receiver room has a lot of talent, but you have an offensive line that is hindering your quarterback from getting him the football. That is what has eventually led to the conservative play calling that Mike Shula has put together. That's why, guys. Many of you don't want to hear it, but that's the truth. So, understand, you got a team that's coming that you have to go travel to. That defensively, pretty freaking good. Thought they had a strong front seven. I thought they were better than what people advertised them to be at the start of the year. And we'll preview them in just a little bit. But the elephants in the room are ginormous offensively. You're not getting your playmakers the football. Your offensive line is struggling with missed assignments, with personnel that you can't get in order. All likelihood, guys, depending on what Case and Henry is going to look like, because Beamer said in his presser that he's expecting and he's hopeful that Henry is going to start this weekend. If he doesn't, this will be the 6th straight half of the season, all 3 games, that you have gone in with a different look up front. Now you know why I say that there has to be consistency when we talk about the front 5. So here's what I have right now as your starting 5 for this week. Right now, I probably would, depending on if Kaysen is hurt or not. We'll say if Kaysen is hurt. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Tree. It's going to be Josiah Thompson, Shed Surratt, Boaz Stanley, and then Nick. But it could also be Tro that's going to be starting over Nick. But we'll see. Anything is possible with this roster because this is a broken roster. Offensively, good luck. I mean, it's such a pain in the butt to have to come on here and try and defend this so long. It's not easy. Trevon Ball, in my opinion, has been fine, but he's missed a lot of assignments. And we told you this offensive line was going to get your quarterback killed. Look at what happened on Saturday. We told you and told you and told you since the start of the season, if you couldn't be effective in pass pro, you were going to get your ass whipped, and you were going to lose one of your star quarterbacks. It's the bottom line, guys. So let's go ahead and let's talk about Missouri for this upcoming week, now that we have all that out the way. Oh, man. Missouri right now has, in my opinion, one of the best run defenses in all of college football. So our first key to victory is establish the run game. You got a little bit of momentum with Rasul Faison. He finishes with 75 yards rushing. You started to get some momentum at the start of the game. You fed him the football, and he was doing really, really well. You spread it around. You mixed up different personnel. You got into a lot of 21, really, and you gave him the football, and you were effective doing that. And then you got away from it. Because whenever you get into the red zone, you get cute. You want to run draw between your guards. You don't want to get your guards out in space. You want to try and pound the rock up front against the front four, which you have failed to really do. You have failed to establish the line of scrimmage up front. So, Missouri, excellent front five, front seven. They're going to stuff this SC offensive line. That's the bottom line, guys. And whether you agree or disagree with me, that ultimately will pretty much decide your fate for this Saturday. I do have you losing, by the way, so spoiler alert. If you look at what Vandy and Diego Pavia in this offense did. What? Okay. They controlled the line of scrimmage from start to finish. That's what South Carolina failed to do. You couldn't get off the field on third down, and you couldn't take advantage of the early opportunities that you were given. Your first three drives are going to determine what this game is going to look like. Hopefully he's done. Oh, man. But I think overall, when you look at the first... Shut up! Sorry. Anyways. The first three possessions that South Carolina has been pretty bad. Touchdown, punt, safety allowed in the first one against BT. Punt, all were 3 and outs, by the way, against South Carolina State. And then touchdown, interception, punt. The interception in the red zone was bad. It killed any momentum that you had. And people are going to come out, and I had a Vanderbilt fan tell me, oh, South Carolina didn't deserve to win. I didn't say they deserved to win. I said they shouldn't have lost, in my opinion, knowing where you were and what you could have done to improve overall, but that didn't happen. So it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the offense is going to look like when we get to this Saturday which I don't expect much improvement. And it isn't because it's Luke Doty that's going to be starting. No, that's not even close to what I'm saying. It's because you're inconsistent. And even at the start of drives, guys, when you throw these little pop passes or you get a tight end out of the backfield and get yards, you're getting yards. You're moving the football. And then you get cute and you start to run draws and you try to kind of run the same thing. Guys, Missouri is going to expect that. They're going to play a zone. They're probably going to be in cover 2. They're going to recognize the tight ends. The linebacking room for Missouri is really good. Guys, Josiah Trotter, you better watch out for him. You have to find a way to scheme against him, which means you have to take some shots down the field. If you do and you strike early, you have a chance on the road. We'll see, man. But this brings me to my second keys to victory, which is strike early and keep the freaking foot on the gas pedal. Look at what Kansas did. They got an early opportunity, and their defense let them off the hook because they would allow what? 20 consecutive? Something like that. And they let them off the hook. They allowed them to climb back in the game, and they could not produce. You know, that's the bottom line in that game. And what Missouri does so well is that they mix things up. They get so many different guys involved in this game. They got your Ahmad Hardy involved. You got Jamal Roberts involved. Yeah, scored 15 unanswered in the second quarter and got back in the football game. In the fourth quarter, Kansas implodes. Defensively, they imploded. They couldn't take advantage of opportunities that their defense gave. I need to see more deep shots taken down the field. Nick Harbor has to be the number one target on just about every drive. Because you cannot have a guy that's going off in the first half and barely get any targets in the second half. I don't care if it's LaNorris. I don't care if it's Aaron Nolan. I don't care if it's Luke Doty or Cutter Woods that's out there. I don't care if it's the freaking janitor in the damn stadium. Get your freaking dudes the football. Nick Harbor's going off. Donovan Murph's got top end speed. Why aren't you getting these guys the football? Mike Shula, change your freaking play calling when you get to the opposite side of the field. Get it to where you have your playmakers mixed and involved in the game. I'm tired of these freaking screens that we run in the red zone. It's ridiculous. And it shows you have no creativity in your offense. Maybe it shows that this offense is outdated. Maybe it shows that Mike Shula doesn't trust in LaNorris, which is stupid. Maybe that's the freaking case. I don't know, man. I don't know. Get your playmakers the football. You have failed to do that through the first two games. You had one deep shot to Nick Harbor. That was in the first game. 40 plus yards of pass plays. How many do you have on the season? Not a lot. A lot of it's been short underneath stuff. You've been throwing these intermediate passes. You have not taken a shot down the field since the opening game. That's on nobody else but coaching decisions. Not trusting in the athletes that you have on the field. let me take a break before I end up blowing a gasket. You're listening to South Carolina Live here on the Voice of College Football.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
With Missouri, let me tell you what they've done the last 2 games. They have averaged 600 yards a game against UL and against Missouri, or against Kansas. Now, I understand it's both of those teams. I get that. You know what their time of possession was? Last week, you had 43 minutes of time of possession. They had 40 minutes against Kansas. You have to get off the freaking field when it matters most. Missouri is at the top in third down conversions. They are. They can get off the field. They can generate drives. And is their offense any better than what you have? I would say you're even keel. I thought you were deeper in the receiving room, but that's obviously not the case because we can only speculate because the on-field product is not the same. Missouri is going to run the football on you, and they are going to bust you square in the mouth in the middle of your defense. What are you going to do to respond? How do you respond? You know what they were on third down? They were 10 of 19 on third down against Kansas. You know what were they on against Louisiana? Against the Ragin' Cajuns. Well, they were 9 of 13. They know. They know how to sustain drives. You can't. Things got to change, guys. They have to change. Offensively, mix it up whenever you're on the opposite side of the 50. You will have success if you can just do that, guys. You have to. And when you do, you're going to have a lot of success. You're going to be able to move the football down the field like you need to, like you have to. Because only you dictate what the rest of this season looks like. We'll see, man. I mean, you have a lot of questions that need to be addressed. Lose this game on Saturday, Shane's going to have to start asking some really tough questions. And if you put out the same result that you had for the last 3 weeks, these questions are going to get really, really rough. I'm going to rattle you off some stats real fast. In the run game, by the way, that's another one of our key to victory, if we haven't already mentioned it, establishes. You're 77th overall according to PFF in the run game. You're 101st in run blocking, 116th in yards per carry, and 122nd in broken tackles per carry. So you have a lot to work on, guys. Now you got it kind of established this past week with Rasul. Where was Oscar Attaway, though? You didn't get him involved. He had 1 carry for 6 yards. I don't know if he had fumble issues or anything like that, but it just still seems like he was getting punished for what happened. I could be wrong, but we can only speculate. Right now, Rasul Faison got involved. And I think going up against this Missouri front 7, you're going to have to find other ways to get involved because this is a very, very good front 7. 10th, in, according to PFF, in run stopping. So you're going to have to come up with some other things. You're going to have to play the option game. You're going to have to come up with misdirections. You got to get your offensive line out in front. You have to establish that, or else you are going to continue to get beat, and you are going to continue to get whipped up front. That's the bottom line, guys. So good luck. You have a lot to fix. I don't really know at this point, guys. Missouri, Bo Pribula, you're going to be able, I think you'll be able to shut him down with the run game. You're going to force him to try to get outside the pocket. I do think you have much better containment. You did well against Diego containing him. Pribula, though, that's a different story. Let's see if you can't take advantage of what that offensive line is going to bring you. Because through the first 2 to 3 games, really the first 2 games, offensive line hadn't really gotten established. So, but I wouldn't say they're as bad as where South Carolina is at. Because at least Missouri can get the football out quick and make plays and get it to their playmakers. They can get it to guys like Kevin Coleman. You know, they can get it to guys like Marquise Johnson. By the way, have fun with covering them with Brandon Cisse and whoever else it is. Judge Collier, from what we're hearing, should be back. You definitely need that, man. You need help on the outside. You need a veteran presence because it is going to be very difficult if he is not out on the field. You have to put him out on the field, and he has to make plays. And he can make plays. So I think Cisse would be, it's either him or Peyton Williams that would be. No. Peyton Williams is going to be gone from his safety position, and I think Judge will be starting in his position. So you needed to get him back on the field. I think it's good for your secondary. I think this is going to be an even in game throughout majority of this game. If South Carolina can get their offense going early, if you can establish the run game, and if you don't piss down your leg in the red zone, you are going to be able to control the game. But if you start struggling early on offense, if your defense gets you stops and you are forced into 3 and outs and such, you're going to lose the football game. You have 6 touchdowns on the year offensively. That is unacceptable. Actually, 1, 2 against, I think you have 4, if I'm not mistaken. You have 4 touchdowns on the year offensively. Think that's going to win you ball games? I don't think so. You better get it started going. You better get this offensive line fixed. You got to start showing some life. That's what's going to be the difference between a win and a loss this weekend. look, I respect Eli Drinkwitz. I think he's one of the more underappreciated head coaches in the SEC. But, man, this matchup scares me. Your defense can only do so much. So, we'll see what happens. I'm excited for this weekend. Guys, thank you all for tuning in once again on South Carolina Live with the Voice of College Football. I understand we've had a pretty short show today, if you consider 40 minutes to be short. But my computer's about to die. I don't have my charger, so that's awesome and stuff. But, guys, make sure you do us a favor. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell notification so that you are notified every time we go live here on South Carolina Live. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, follow me on X at Lucas Hill SEC. Follow the Voice of College Football at THEVOCFB. And until next time, ladies and gents, stay blessed. Don't stress. Y'all have a good rest of the day.